everything. You can't have enough cheese. Can you have enough cheese?
No.
Well, at my age you can, but you know.
When I auditioned for Stranger Things, I was living in LA for about 4 years, and I totaled my car, and when it rains it pours, and it was like one thing after the other, and so I moved back to Orlando and was like, you know what, I'm gonna go back to college, I'm gonna like do the thing and like live a real life, and maybe do the dream on the side. And my managers from LA gave me a call and said, well, we have a self-tape we'd really like you to audition for. And I said, I don't know, guys, I'm trying to like, get back in a good headspace. And they were like, no, just one more, that's all we ask. And it just happened to be this untitled Duffer Brothers project at the time, which was called Montauk. And so I agreed, and I taped, and I originally taped for the role of Barb.
Oh, see, look, she wanted to be Barb.
And so I was called back based on that self-tape, and drove to Atlanta for 6 hours from Orlando, and that's where they had me read for Carol. And I remember going in and out of the room because they were like, oh yeah, can you be more tomboy, less flirty? Then he was like, I feel like she should be chewing gum. And so like throughout this whole callback process, I realized after I had booked the job that we were actually creating Carol in the callback, because then she did essentially, bubblegum was like her, iconic thing, and she's always chomping on her gum, and it's super annoying, and everybody hates her. So after that callback, then I went back to Orlando, didn't hear anything for a really, really long time. I was like, all right, well, that was it, time to move on. And sure enough, they called me again and said, we need you to self-tape for Barb again. And I thought, what? What's going on? Like, you just can't decide? So I self-taped for Barb, and sure enough, then I was on a veil for like a week, and they offered me the role of Carol. Which I was very happy about, and Shannon Purser did a lovely job as Barb, as we all know. So, that was my audition experience. And I'm not going back to college.
Me either.
Maybe one day, but not right now.
People think it's a bad thing if you're in a callback, if they're giving you notes or whatever, but it's like, no, that means that they like what they see and they want you to go down this direction.
I always chalk it up to, if I'm in the room longer, then I'm doing something right, even if they're telling me to do it different, or trying to just redirect me, or they're yelling at me like, no, we need it this way. Either way, I'm like, if they absolutely hated me, I would have been out of this room 2 minutes ago.
Yes.
So it's always a good sign
Thank
the longer
you.
you're in the room.
Those are the words you're always afraid. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. That's when they're like, okay, you're probably not getting the job.
So, what's been the experience that's like struck with you most since then? Actually, during the show, look back on it, it's like, oh yeah, that was a great day, or that was a great scene. Or
Ooh, the first time I ate a Reuben sandwich.
I don't even remember that day.
Okay, it was the day it snowed. It was the day that it snowed. Okay, so this was an amazing experience, and I know that it starts with a Reuben sandwich, but hey, that's a good place to start if anybody's had a Reuben sandwich. So I'm sitting. You don't like sauerkraut? No. So I never had one before, and I'm sitting there with Noah Schnapp and his father, and we're standing in line, and he goes, "You've never had a Reuben?" And I was like, "No, I've never had a Reuben." He goes, "They're really great." And I was like, "So where have you been?" And he was like, "Well, I'm actually doing some Charlie Brown stuff." And I was like, "You're Charlie Brown?" Oh, wow. So I got my Reuben, and I knew things were feeling good, things were feeling right, and the moon was completely full, and as soon as I took my first bite on set, it started snowing like a movie. And I was like, it's amazing. I think it was a Tuesday. Fan to remember.
Thank you for answering my question.
He's such a performer.
Okay, my most memorable set moment. It's not a sandwich. No, I'll start with my favorite scene. I think it's a good place to start. But the sandwich was good. I mean, you committed. That was a bold choice, and I'm proud of you for it. I really loved the car scene.
Oh, that was cool.
Because most of the time, most of our filming was on location, and this was one of those scenes we were actually in the
Studios. Yeah, it was
filming. So it was filmed in the studio. We had like lights going, like to make it look like we're driving, but the car is not actually moving. It's kind of just like sitting there. Lights are happening, and I felt like we really had the freedom in the car to like move about and do whatever we wanted.
Oh yeah.
And so I really love that scene. It was fun because I'm like, we are such the antagonists in that, like, you know, and I'm getting all up in his grill and Steve's like, oh my God, cut it out, like, I hate you guys, you know, and it's really just gives you the feel of who we are as a couple and who we are as his friend.
Yeah, and I think scene-wise, for me, would have to be the gas station scene.
Yeah, you love that scene.
I love that scene because...
It's because you're so mean.
I'm standing up for you, honestly, you know, because we don't know what's going on with all the stuff, you know, at the time. So we just know our friend's acting really weird, and you know, at the end of the day, you know, as weird as the love is, you know, Tommy and Carol, that moment I think was really real. And Steve's, you know, Joe's performance is just phenomenal, always. But that was a very fun scene.
Yeah, I love Joe.
Very fun scene, and that was our last day of shooting. That was my last day of shooting.
Everything's put in the can, and like, okay, that's nice and dandy. Then Netflix starts putting a cyclation. When did you start realizing this was a way bigger thing than anybody expected? Or actually, when did you guys first get recognized by strangers?
I was at Guitar Center, and I was buying some picks, and then all of a sudden, I hear this dude from behind me, oh my God, you're on TV! And I turned around, and I was like, who's here? Oh, it's me! And then I was like, that was like the first time. That was the first time. And they were super cool. And then they gave me tickets to their concert, and I checked out their band. They were great. I don't recall the name of the band, but they were phenomenal.
Dude, you're the show. Yeah, man, right.
I was like, you want to buy me some pics? I should have said that.
I'll take a beer, yeah.
Pics.
The first time I got noticed, I was at a concert in LA, and I can't remember what the venue was. It was pretty popular though. Maybe on Sunset or Hollywood. I can't put my finger on it. Drake Bell was performing, who is a friend of mine, and I was there with his girlfriend, who is my best friend from Winter Park, Florida, and we were just hanging out. And she knew, and all of her friends knew that I was on the show, and we were walking around. We were going upstairs to like the VIP section, and somebody was like, oh my God, you're on that show, and we were with Drake. So I'm thinking, you know, like, hey Drake, like somebody's trying to, oh my God, that scared me.
We're all right, folks, all right.
I was like, the Demogorgon's coming out of the floor now?
God.
What are they gonna think of next?
I'm like, Drake, somebody's trying to talk to you, and they were like, no, you're on Stranger Things, and I was like, what?
Wow.
I looked at Drake and I just laughed, and Drake went.
So that was the beginning. When did you guys become aware that oh wow, this isn't just a show, this is become a thing?
I remember getting a text from Chester, and he was like, do you see what's happening on Netflix right now? It's been out for a day and it's got 5 stars. Like, are you seeing like what's happening on the Instagrams? Like, are you? And I was like, I'm a late sleeper, and we were on a time change too because he's in Texas and I'm in Florida. So I just remember him being like, yo, are you aware? Like, are you awake yet? And I was like, what? So I like pulled it all up, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. what is going on? You know, and the kids were like a hot commodity. Like, I remember that being huge. Like, I went on Millie's page and she had like millions of followers overnight. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah, that's a huge thing. I think for me, when I saw it on Saturday Night Live was making fun of it, I was like,
That's always a good sign.
when Saturday Night Live made fun of it, I was like, this is a different thing than I expected. It was like, I knew this show was good, but when Saturday Night Live makes fun of you, there's really, other than South Park, I mean, come on, man. Jeez. And then they made fun of it on South Park.
Yeah. I was gonna
And
say
then-
that probably happened too.
There's a trifecta. When Weird Al Yankovic does a satire song about Stranger Things, that's when you really got the three.
Then,
They had trick.
absolutely. And you know he's going on tour soon. Yeah, absolutely. He's gonna be playing songs that like he never really played at his
Weird Al
live
Yankovic.
tours. Like,
Yeah, I know he's on that Unplugged tour.
yeah, it's really cool. But I think whenever when they made Monopoly, a Stranger Things Monopoly,
Yeah, they did, yeah.
that was incredible by the American Toy Company, and I was like, I went and bought 3 of them, and I was like, this is the coolest thing ever because you actually have something that in a game, and we're on the Monopoly board halfway.
We're also on the pixelated video game.
There's a video game too. Yeah, we're in the video game. You're
Yeah.
in the video game.
So are you. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah,
We're pixelated people.
Play with yourself. Hey! All right, that's all I got. Let's open up to our audience questions.